Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the previous class, we discussed about audit program. Today, we are going to start another important topic, and that is the audit notebook. What is audit notebook? An audit notebook is one of the most important document maintained by the auditor. It is very important document that the auditor is maintaining. It is defined as a record used mainly in recording audit, containing data on work done and comments made. It is basically a book maintained by the auditor in which he is recording the audit, what is done, what is not done. He is recording each and everything about the progress of the audit, containing data on work done, what is done, we are writing it. What is left, we are not writing in this. So what work is done, we are recording this in audit notebook. And comments made, different type of comments that are coming, we are recording in this book. Audit notebook contains information regarding the day-to-day work performed by the audit staff. Just like I told you, it is a book in which we are recording the day-to-day activities, the day-to-day work performed by the audit staff. Notes about the errors. Whatever the errors found by the audit staff, so we are recording it in the notebook. And explanations are required. If some explanations, when there are some mistakes, there are some errors, so we need explanation from the staff who did this error or who made the fraud. So we are recording that. We will call explanation about this thing from the staff, from the company staff who maintained this data. So whatever the explanations will be required from which staff member, so we will record it in the notebook. So simple words, notebook is what? Is a book in which which contains information regarding the day-to-day work performed by the audit staff. Whatever the work is done, we are recording it in the notebook. Notes about errors, whatever, if there are some errors in the accounting system, if there are some mistakes, so we are recording that there are the mistakes in the accounting information. And if some explanations are required, so we are writing it in the notebook that we will call explanation from the company members who maintain this accounting information. So the auditor can use it as an authentic evidence in the court if there is any case against him. Suppose at the end of the audit, the company is not trusting you, that you didn't conduct the audit well. So this notebook will be an evidence, because each and everything is recorded in this, that this audit staff performed this work, this audit staff performed that work. We write the notes about errors, we call the explanations from the staff members, from different company staff members. So each and everything will be recorded in this. So this will be an evidence if there is a case against the auditor in the court of law. So This will be an authentic evidence in the court if there is any case against the auditor. It's talking about the auditor. An audit notebook should be preserved by the auditor as it contains valuable information in respect of the work done by its staff. And keep in mind that auditor will preserve this book. He will keep it with himself and he will not leak the information contained in this notebook. So in short, what is the audit notebook? In simple words, a notebook is a book. In this book, we are recording that we are keeping information about the work performed by the audit staff, the day-to-day work performed by the audit staff. The second thing, I'm writing shortly. The second thing, we are keeping a record of errors and frauds. If there is some error, if there is some fraud, so we are recording it in this notebook. We are writing it in this notebook that there is some error, there is some fraud, there is some mistake. And the third thing, if some explanations, we call explanations from the company staff members who is responsible for that errors, that fraud. Explanation. From the staff members, company staff members. I'm not talking about the audit staff. I'm talking about if somebody made the error, somebody made the fraud, so we will call explanation, and we are recording it in this notebook that we will call this explanation. So this is audit notebook. Now the contents of audit notebook, which things will be included in this notebook. Nature of the business. It is important that we know the nature of the business, and important documents such as memorandum of association and article of association. If that is a partnership business, so partnership deed, etc. So the important documents of the company, we are keeping it in the notebook. List of books of accounts, whatever the books of the accounts the company is using, so we will keep a list of the books of accounts. List of officials, you know about the officials, the board of directors, their duties, each board of director member, their list, what is their duties, what are their duties and responsibilities, and what are their responsibilities. So we are keeping a record of this thing as well. Just a minute. Then copy of the audit program. In the previous class we discussed about the audit program, so we are also keeping a record of the audit program in this notebook. Information on missing receipts, vouchers, etc. If something is missing, so we are recording it in the notebook that this receipt is missing, this voucher is missing. So whatever is missing, we are recording it in the notebook. Details of errors discovered, whatever the errors we are discovering on daily basis, so we are recording it in the notebook that we discovered this error, we discovered this mistake. Explanation sought from the officials. Now keep in mind one thing, that we know about the officials, their duties and their responsibilities. So if there is some errors discovered, some receipts are missing, some vouchers are missing, so we will call explanations from the related officials, because we know about the duty of each officials, their duties and responsibilities. So if errors are discovered, something is missing, who is responsible for that? So we will call explanation from these officials. Point to be included in the audit program. Then on the base of all this information, all this notebook, we will make our audit report. So we are writing points, that which points to be included in the audit program. So the audit notebook, what is audit notebook? It is a book, it is a notebook, an important document maintained by the auditor. And in this notebook, we are keeping a record of the work performed by the audit staff, day-to-day work performed by the audit staff. The second thing, any errors and mistakes found, we are recording it, we are noting it in the notebook. And the explanation that we will call from the officials, so we are also keeping a record of these explanation. And keep this thing in mind, if you have this notebook and there is a case on the auditor in the court of law, so he can defend himself easily. But if he don't have he he don't have this notebook, he can't defend himself in the court of law. And I have told you which things will be included in this. We are keeping information about the nature of business, important documents of the company such as memorandum of association, article of association, if that is a partnership business, so partnership deed, etc. These two documents, these are important documents in joint stock companies. You people studied it in ITB. List of books of accounts. The auditor is also keeping a complete list of the books of accounts in this notebook. List of officials, who are the officials, what are their duties and what are their responsibilities, and important information. So he is writing this information in the note. Copy of the audit program. What is my program? The auditor's program. So he's also keeping a record of this thing in the notebook. Information on the missing receipts, if some receipts are missing, if some vouchers are missing, etc. So we are also recording it in the notebook. Details of errors discovered, whatever the errors are discovered during the audit, so we are recording it in the notebook. Explanation sought from the official. If someone is responsible for some work, some errors, some fraud, so we will call explanation from that official. So we are also keeping record of this thing. Points to be included in the audit program. Then on the base of all this information, we are writing the points that will be included in the audit program. So this is all about the audit notebook. Now come to another important document, that is called audit working paper. It is also an important document. Just I will first tell you shortly that what is the working paper. While conducting audit, all such documents, whatever the documents the auditor is using, all the information he is demanding information from the company regarding different things. He's using different facts and figures. And he is using the notebook just like we studied it, used by auditor. An auditor is using all these documents, all the information, all the facts and all the things written in notebook and keep it with himself after completing audit is called the working paper. On the base of this working paper, he is concluding something about the audit. This is basically called the working paper. So I am telling you in short that working paper is what all the documents used by the auditor, all the information used by the auditor, all the facts used by the auditor, and the notebook used by the auditor in the process of audit is called the working paper. So audit working papers are those documents, work papers which contain essential facts about accounts which are being audited. It is defined as the file of analysis, summaries, comments, and correspondence built up by the auditor during the course of audit. And keep in mind, it is, you can say that on the base of these working papers, he is making his final report. So it is basically a file of analysis, summaries, comments, and correspondence build up. Here correspondence means that if someone is responsible, so we are calling explanation. And sometimes suppose there is an asset, it is written in the balance sheet, so we are practically going and we are checking whether it is present or not by the auditor during the course of audit. So we called it working papers. In this, basically the auditor is mentioning methods and procedures used for audit, that he is using which methods and which procedures for conducting auditor, information regarding debtor, creditor, investments, whatever the investments of the company. He's keeping information about the investment of the company, bank statements, and different copies of documents received from the clients. Different documents like memorandum of association, article of association, etc. Auditor type of business, sorry, this is not auditor, this is client. Client type of business, what is the type of business, products and services, what are his products or what are his services, information of the board meetings decisions, what are the inside the company there are different meetings, so he is getting information about the board meetings and the decisions taken by the board of directors. So all these documents, he's using all these documents in the process of his audit. So all these, we call it the working papers. Auditor is preparing the working papers himself, and keep in mind who is preparing? Auditor is preparing. The auditor maintains papers as supporting evidence to the audit work. These working papers are basically the supporting evidence of the audit work. This is an evidence with the auditor about the audit work. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of India states that an auditor is expected to maintain evidence of work done by him and his staff. The Chartered Accountants of India, they states that the auditor must maintain evidence of the work done by him and his staff. He will keep an evidence of what he did and what his staff did in the audit. Usually, audit working papers contains a copy of the trial balances, schedules of debtors and creditors, reconciliation statement, important correspondence, etc. Just like we discussed it here. Now, working papers should be clear, complete, and contains the necessary information so that they may be of maximum utility. It is the responsibility of auditor that his working paper must be clear and complete, and there will be all necessary information so that may be of maximum utility. They should be properly organized, documented, and signed. Auditor must properly organize it, must properly document it, means you know about documentation, how to keep record, and signed from the related staff member, audit staff member. In this regard, it is said that an auditor is often judged by the quality of working papers prepared by him under his guidance. Now keep in mind, you can you can analyze the quality of the audit work by the working paper maintained by the auditor. If he maintained his working papers properly, that these working papers are properly organized, documented, and signed, so this shows the quality of the auditor. Working papers are confidential documents. Keep in mind, these are confidential documents. Hence, he should not disclose the facts to others, and he will not disclose these facts to others. Doing so results in professional misconduct. If he is disclosing the facts to others, it will be considered a professional misconduct. Working papers should be preserved properly because they are important documents. And keep in mind, the auditor must preserve, secure these documents because these are important documents. So it is the responsibility of auditor that he will keep these documents safe. Inshallah, in the next class, then we will go in detail of this working paper, and we will discuss the purpose of maintaining audit working papers and ownership of the audit working paper. Have a good